auf den fucking Audacity, and we're going. Wie geht's?
Wie geht's?
Ready, going. Right.
Going. Are we going?
We're going.
We're all going.
The Peloton Bike Plus is $24.95. Oh my God, $2,500.
Wait, when you said $24.95, I was like, that's pretty reasonable for an exercise bike. And you're like, no, $2,495. Okay, so what is the thing with a Peloton ride? It's just an exercise bike, but like it has...
But also apps, and there's resistance training.
There's a little man in it who tells you what to do.
Yeah, there's a magical glass box.
Okay, it's got a pixie in there who's gonna dom you into being thin. Fine, yes. But like you can go to a gym, and a gym membership is like, okay, they're not cheap, but like, wait a second, is this app a subscription thing, or do you just pay the? Okay. I'm sorry. For a second, I was just like, do you just pay the $24.95 and just be done with it? No, of course you don't. Okay.
What I did today is on my bike ride, I recorded it using Strava, which is an app I have now.
That thing that like half the U.S. military doxed themselves with.
I was about to say,
in Somalia for no reason.
It seems like a really good way to give strangers knowledge of where you live and what your daily routine is.
It's uniquely bad for the troops too, because every single one of them was like in a place where they weren't supposed to be, in a country they weren't supposed to be, and their daily PT was, I'm gonna jog the perimeter, and I'm gonna like outline in a nice little heat map the precise perimeter line of wherever it is that I am.
Strava, people tell on themselves with Strava constantly. There was some DC cop who was off duty and he was biking. I think he was a cop. He might have been an ex-cop. And he like harassed some kids putting up Black Lives Matter signs. And you know, they couldn't figure out who he was until someone checked Strava, and it was like, oh yeah, this guy was there at that time, and he stopped his ride there for a moment. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't be broadcasting your whereabouts everywhere. But of course, you know, here I'm just going to try and avoid doing illegal things while I'm riding my bike is the thing, or distasteful ones.
Illegal, immoral, distasteful, adding to the population, subtracting to the population.
You rang.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, welcome to Well, There's Your Problem. It's a podcast about engineering disasters. It has slides. If you're on a podcasting app, you can't see the slides. You're going to have to go to YouTube to see them. Okay. I'm Justin Rosniak. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him.
I am Alice Caldwell Kelly. I am the person who is talking now. My pronouns, she and her. Yay, Liam.
Yay, Liam. Hi. Yay, Liam. Thanks, Alice. Appreciate you. Thanks, Ross.
Always.
I am Liam Anderson. I am the guy who is an asshole to you, both in our YouTube and Twitter comment section. And to the one person who talked about their misophonia, and that I was sort of a dick.
My food just got here just in time.
I was a dickhead. And I do want to say I'm sorry to you, but you're the only person I'm sorry to. Everyone else can blow me. I've been drinking, I got a 7-Eleven Slurpee because it's nice out, right? And then I crammed it full of, I can't believe I'm drinking this, but normal, like the Costco vodka and blue.
Well, we would have Glenn's vodka.
And blue raspberry moonshine.
Ooh, I know that moonshine brand. It's the one that comes in the mason jars,
yes,
right?
It is. Yes, it is.
I like the apple pie one. No. It's like, I forget the name of it, but like it's a distinct thing.
Yeah. I mean, they try. You say that, Ross, but I've seen some in like the old timey like paint thinner removers. Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah. Those ones are funny.
Stillhouse, I think it's called. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking. I've got Alice. I thought of you. I have a Mountain Dew Kickstart energizing orange citrus.
Gamer.
Yeah. So after this, I'm going to go on Call of Duty and say the K word.
You're going to get the Miami Heat in trouble. And you're going to have to be like, I didn't know what that word meant. I also don't know where I learned it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you don't like, there's a continuum of slurs. Yeah, like there's none that are good or even acceptable, but there are some that you don't know, that you haven't heard of unless you're fully into the thing, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. You say that slur because you're a fucking anti-Semite, and you learned it presumably from your anti-Semite friends, or from the Wikipedia list of racial slurs.
Yeah, like you use that word innocently if you were a 97-year-old man, maybe.
Mm-mm. You get your ass beat, Grandpa.
That's right.
So what do you see on the screen in front of you is a train. But the train,
it's an Eschede.
The train is all bunched up and broken.
And windows are fine, though.
It's not. We'll get to that.
The loco looks relatively where it should be. I mean, it's a little off.
It's not supposed to be like that.
It's because they got all those guys on the track. They had to move it around them. Yeah.
Today we're gonna learn about the Eschede train disaster.
I literally changed my Zencaster name to a pronunciation guide for you.
Really?
Yeah, Eschede.
Escheder?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Escheder. I see. Okay.
See what I do?
Yes. The issue is I always have the Zencaster behind the PowerPoint, so I wouldn't be able to see it easily.
You have two monitors.
I do have, but I have to put the notes on the other monitor.
One of us has two monitors. One of us is drinking fucking Mountain Dew and moonshine. And one of us is like doing misophonia directly into the microphone because it's the only chance I have to eat today.
I actually am also eating. I've been muting myself intermittently.
We are a gamer-ass podcast tonight. I'm so sorry. It is literally, I'm recording podcasts back to back and I'm starving.
Anyway, today we're going to learn about the Eschede derailment in 1998. But first, we have to talk about the goddamn news.
Yeah, I got the right drop this time.
All right.
Gotta go.
All right. So I want to. The Chapo to Fash pipeline is apparently real, according to the Daily Beast.
Yep, 100%.
Yes.
Everybody who has ever done a podcast is on the alt-right, including us.
I was sort of thinking this over, and I was like, I've been on some of those podcasts and mentioned in that article, I guess I'm fascist.
Yeah. That's right.
Frankly, and so I was insulted not to be included.
Well, I mean, you are on this show with a noted anti-Semite. I mean, like, we just have to run back the bit about the Jewish space laser.
Wait, which one of us is the
Liam's cancelled.
Oh, it's me.
You are, baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Liam, you talk about the Jewish cabal all the time, which is highly anti-Semitic.
Which is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
I'm sorry, man.
We got to cancel you.
It's not anti-Semitic if I'm doing it.
No, we got to have a blanket policy on this.
No. I will make fun of the Jewish elites until I'm blue in the face. Listen, I'm alive, and Sheldon Adelson isn't. So who on that one?
I don't know. He took his time.
If the standard here seems to be guilt by association, so I propose some kind of standardized method of cancellation based on the Nick Mullen number. How far removed are you from Nick Mullen?
Well, I've done a podcast with a guy from Chapo who has done a podcast with Nick Mullen, so that makes my Nick Mullen number 1.
No, because Nick Mullen is 0.
Yeah, that's
people
right.
who have been on a podcast with Nick Mullen are 1.
I see.
People who have been on it, so you'd be 2. I think I'm 2 as well. Liam is 3.
3.
I don't know anyone who is above 3.
Zorik, maybe.
He's not been on any podcast, so he doesn't have a
shit. All right,
number.
yeah.
Well, he's also a child.
He's not a child. He's not a child. Oh, Zorik, we love you. Go Skylar.
Yeah, we love
Knights,
you too,
buddy.
but you're like 12.
Mm-hmm.
No offense.
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Wait, can you guys hear me? Did I mute myself?
No,
I can hear.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah.
You hear me crunching this Malaysian pancake?
What'd you get?
A Malaysian pancake.
Yo, my girlfriend, God bless you, Corinne, just brought me a little personal pan pizza, some cheesy bread, and her leftover pizza. So I'm on carbo rage.
True love.
Took a detour when I was walking to the grocery store right after this article dropped to go see if I could catch Gwen Snyder short-circuiting that the Daily Beast stole her bit.
Yeah, you went to the grocery store that Gwen Snyder goes to, and it was like They Live. Because everybody just starts pointing at you.
All right. So anyway, the Chapo to Fash pipeline, of course, is real. It's being constructed in a neighborhood near you. Indigenous peoples are protesting it.
Reminds me of one of my favorite posts that I've done of like an entire thread of dumb but heart in the right place leftist guy who thinks that the school to prison pipeline is an actual pipeline.
I will say this, and you can edit this out if you want. Red Scare is a garbage podcast for garbage people.
100%. Like once you're interviewing with fucking Quillette and stuff, you picked a side.
Exactly right. I am perfectly fine. If any of you listen to us and you want to go in the comments and tell us how great Red Scare is, save it. I don't want to fucking hear it. Those people are as Nazi adjacent as you're gonna get without actually tipping over the line. They're not good people. No. And they're fucking disgusting. I don't care for Red Scare. I have beef with basically every other podcast for various reasons.
Yes. Like every other podcast is bad apart from ours.
Apart from ours, and Kill James Bond.
And Kill James Bond and unnamed Liam Anderson podcast.
Yes.
And I will say to Sean from the Antifada, I have received your peace accords and I am willing to negotiate. Now, everybody else. 11 a.m. Clark Park, Saturday.
It's like John Wick. The fucking word goes out. Every podcaster gets open season on Liam from 11 a.m.
I could, come and get it. How tall is Matt Christman? I could probably kick Matt Christman's ass.
I don't know. He might have a weight advantage on you.
That's fine. Point. I'm nimble.
All right. In other news, apparently Pennsylvania waterways are full of microplastics.
Oh, yeah.
Just completely full of them.
You're eating a credit card a week.
You're eating about one credit card worth of microplastics a week. Yeah.
Roz told me this yesterday when we were hanging out, and I said, "Oh, not that bad." And I meant it. I was like, that's like less.
You're like, I eat credit cards all the time.
I do.
They tell you to cut up the old ones to dispose them, but I've just been eating them.
Yeah, that's my incisor's job.
I eat stickers all the time, dude.
I don't know, man. I do love this idea that just Allegheny County. Just talk about kicking them while they're down.
Yeah.
Hey, all your coal towns closed. And by the way, you've been eating credit cards.
And not even a whole credit card that you can poop out, but instead sort of miniature particles.
Roz, do you want to tell Alice a joke you were making yesterday when we were talking about going to the strip club and holding your stomach up to the stripper? Roz, do you want to make that joke?
No, you're remembering this joke wrong.
Roz, tell the joke.
No, I was thinking as people joke about, using swiping the credit card through the stripper's ass all the time. I was thinking, what if you were a really fat guy, I said. And you sort of swipe the credit card through your fat cleavage,
and Roz also thought that it would be funny to put
under the impression that it was the microplastics would add up and you would just have a credit card.
What if you had a butt plug with a credit card scanner?
What if you were doing fucking contactless payments with your asshole? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Can you, I love the idea of getting sponsored by Stripe or someone and you get a nice little branded minimalist butt plug.
Yeah. A carbon fiber butt plug.
It looks very tight, so to speak.
High speed, low drag. Yeah,
that's for weight reduction.
Don't pollute.
Right. Yeah, so don't.
We're not bringing our best here, folks.
Well, apparently, a lot of this is from polyester fibers.
Really?
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do we know how bad? The thing is, right? I don't want to go full chemtrails about this. Do we know how bad microplastics are for people yet, or is that just one of the things where science, much like prions, where science is just oh no, ask us in 20 years and see if we all start dropping dead of it?
I think it's the second one.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be a problem, but it's not one now. So who gives a shit? Roll the dice, scaredy cats.
All I can say is
so many other things that could take us out first.
Do not. This is the problem. Is polyester? Obviously, the Bible said, "Do not mix fabrics," and the Bible is right.
Yeah, the Bible also says you shouldn't be fucking whatever, adding to this book. And then what did you do? What did you filthy papists do, Roz? Tell me what you did.
Look.
What?
Look,
no, come at me, bitch.
Jesus
fucked it up so bad that God had to come and fucking write a whole other book as a correction.
Come on now. I don't listen. The way I feel about Islam, much respect to you, is the way I feel about every other religion that's not Judaism. Is I don't know who's the guy, but it's not your fucking guy. That's how I feel about Christianity. I'm just like, I don't know. I just know it's not Jesus, man. I know it's not Jesus. Anybody but Jesus.
All right. That was.
So having offended all of our podcast friends and now a bunch of
literally
like religious denominations.
Hey, whoa. Hey, I'm making amends with Antifada Sean. I don't want to
only Antifada Sean.
Yeah, actually only Antifada Sean now. Matt Crispin.
You're fucking on notice.
He lives in Brooklyn. He's barely worthy of my consideration.
You're like, New York has made him soft.
Yeah, it does. It makes you you paid $2,200 for a loft apartment and $9 for a bagel sandwich, Crispin. Fuck you.
All right.
Not you, Antifada Shot. I love you.
Firmly established, we will never get the Chapo bump. That is the goddamn news.
I could kick Felix's ass.
No, Felix is like buff.
I don't know about that. I could kick Virgil Texas's ass. I could kick Virgil's ass.
That's nothing to brag about. I could kick Virgil Texas's ass.
Barely on the show at this point.
I'm 5'7". Anyway, like Virgil Texas is a fucking ectomorph. Like,
Ross, how tall are you?
I'm like 6 foot.
Are you though? Are you 6 foot, Roz?
It may also be 5'11". It's been a long time since I measured myself.
Do you want me to measure you?
Here's the
I'd
thing.
like to see you do that
Felix
over
would kick my ass, right? But like, he'd also be the least likely to fight me because he's the most chill one on that podcast. Like, he's too relaxed to want to fight me, I think.
That's it. I absolutely do want to fight the Red Scare girls.
Oh boy.
Like, really.
You'd be like fucking Van Helsing, but for cocaine Dracula.
Oh my God. I don't respect and I don't uphold Red Scare thought.
All right. So we also have to talk about things other than which podcasters we would like to fight.
Well, it's most of them.
Try me, Roz.
So we have to before we start, we need to ask the question: what is high-speed rail?
Rail go vroom vroom. Obviously.
Yes, it's rail with a high speed.
The train go fast. Yes.
All right. What is the international definition? 155? Or am I getting that confused with the German gentleman's agreement?
155 is one of them. I don't think there's a huge standard. Like the international standard now is like, the good stuff goes 186 miles an hour or better.
300 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
for those
exactly. 155 is still considered that.
Is there a lower boundary for? Isn't it 125 is like the lower boundary, or am I making that up?
Yeah, 125 is like higher speed rail, I guess.
Okay.
They call
Yeah,
it.
that's like what we would consider a fast train in Britain. So
Yeah.
that's probably like
in the United States, anything is called high speed rail.
Yeah, it's true.
They could put a light rail line that stops every block, and someone's going to advertise it as high speed rail.
Roz, what does the Keystone do? 110?
110, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So
you have some slow ass trains.
The Keystone is fast. It's like sneaky fast. Because it doesn't stop all that often, and it goes through Lancaster. It goes through farm country, and there's not that many stops once you're past the suburbs of like the sort of inner suburbs of Philly, and it just hauls ass all the way to Lancaster, and then it gets very slow.
Oh yeah, and then there's it also like some of the schedules are very good from like New York City to Philadelphia on the Keystone.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes you're going faster than an Acela just by virtue of not stopping so often. All right. So, what sort of the characteristics of high-speed rail is it's fast trains that are on very direct routes, and counterintuitively, they are usually pretty cheap to operate, right? This is because, your main cost of operating the train is labor, right? So the faster you run the train, the cheaper it is to operate over a given distance, right? Because if I'm running a train, that takes 3 hours to go from point A to point B, I'm using 3 hours of labor for one trip. If it takes 1 hour, I can, use that same labor to do 3 trips as opposed to just one, right? So you had some early experiments with high-speed rail. Here's 1903. They had this monstrosity here in Prussia, right? This
kind of like it.
Oh yeah, it's you see this 3-phase pantograph system up here.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
It's pretty wild.
Oh, it's beautiful lettering on the side too.
They hit 100.
So
they hit 130 miles an hour in this.
God damn.
Yeah.
Sorry, what year was this?
1903.
Wow.
Jesus.
Okay, hang on.
So that 3-phase thing, right? Like the reason you don't have those now is because you just do that in a transformer, like of the rails, right?
Yeah, it's this is a much more complicated system than you need, especially since you have like DC motors and stuff like that, or AC motors with a transformer or any number of other things, right? 3-phase, it was never really extensively used except in parts of Italy.
You know what's crazy?
What?
In 1903, that was actually also the first year that cars overtook trains for the land speed record.
Huh.
Damn.
And it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just thought that was interesting.
So, that high speed, this was never really fully developed past that. I mean, sort of when we start thinking about high speed trains, we started doing wind tunnel testing around 1931. This is the Brill Bullet, which ran on the Philadelphia and Western Railroad, now the Norristown High Speed Line. These cars regularly.
Why does it have a toupee?
Oh, you know what that is? That is a roof covered in what's called car cement, right? Which is basically just sort of an asphalt roof coating, which was specially designed for trains. That's why a lot of old heavyweight cars are also they have that sort of roof, which is sort of a dull gray.
Huh.
I like that it has a hairline.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's got a pompadour, which I appreciate.
These guys hit 90 miles an hour pretty regularly on the line from Philadelphia to Norristown, which was pretty funny because that's a very short line. But I think the schedules were something like 17 minutes, maybe less than that.
Takes more time than that now.
Yes. This is the first car to be really extensively tested in a wind tunnel for aerodynamics.
Which is funny because it doesn't have any.
Yeah, well, you got to start somewhere. They used these cars until 1990.
Huh.
Yeah. 1935, sort of an experiment in really a sustained high-speed service. Yeah, this is the Milwaukee Roads A-Class, right? This is a steam locomotive that was designed for sustained speeds above 110 miles an hour to meet this sort of very fast 6.5-hour schedule between Chicago and St. Paul. They were rumored to be able to go faster than, the Mallard, which of course famously hit 126. But this was never validated.
Fake news, propaganda.
But they had to, in order to meet their schedule, they had to, go 110 for, 50, 60 miles continuously, right?
Your Le Mans rather than your Formula One.
Sure. Yes.
Thing.
But the first real dedicated high-speed train, the real thing was the Shinkansen Zero Series, 1964.
Rhymes with Wisconsin.
Yes.
We read your comments, you assholes.
Yeah, the Wisconsin Zero Series made of butter and cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Go pack, go.
Yeah, it makes a sort of squeaking noise like a cheese curd, right? This is dedicated right of way was built for it. It would do 130 pretty sustainably, all the way from Tokyo to Osaka, right? And after this, people start to panic to keep up with the Japanese who were going to take over the world.
You had a big advantage, right? In that, it's very easy to build a permanent way that's distinct for a high-speed train line when, first of all, you have a bunch of reconstruction money. And second of all of your previous existing rail network has been, bombed off the face of your country by the U.S. Air Force.
Yes. And a lot of people, when the Shinkansen was being developed, people thought, this is a dumb idea. Why don't we just improve the existing train lines? Well, it turned out to be a pretty good idea in the end.
It was actually a pre-war design, wasn't it? Like Japan was like, once we win the war and establish the Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere, we can do this. Did not win the war, shelved it for a while.
Yeah, but they still got it built. So who won that one? So
thank you, Roz.
Yeah, after these high-speed trains prove successful in Japan, a lot of countries start to panic to keep up, right? So, for instance, Lyndon Baines Johnson made the Pennsylvania Railroad build the Metro liners in 1969, sort of theoretical top speed of 150 miles an hour. But they couldn't actually go that fast because they would blow the windows out of commuter trains on the next track, right? But the best Metro liner schedules were still faster than modern Acela Express schedules. And then of course.
So what you're saying is reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Well, I mean, one of the problems with the Metro liners is that those schedules were only maintained when the trains weren't broken down.
Oh.
Yeah. They were not especially reliable.
Being an extremely unreliable, extremely loud, aerodynamically brick, are we sure that this wasn't like a Soviet design that got displaced in space and time to the wrong side of the Cold War?
No, it can't be because this is stainless steel. The Soviets didn't know how to use that.
The freedom material.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell because it's shiny.
Yes. And
a bitch to render.
You need that expertise from the Bud Company to make this work. As far as I know, there was no Budsky over in Russia.
The Bud Company.
Russian cheesesteaks. Yeah, you got the nice Soviet soft pretzels, but for some reason the salt sprinkles are made of aluminum.
And for a lot of reasons we discussed extensively in the APT episode, the Brits go with a diesel train, the Intercity 125, right, which can go 125 miles an hour. SNCF comes out with the TGV in 1981.
TGV 001.
Well, yes. It hit 100.
And the very fetching orange.
Oh, yes.
I do like the orange.
The orange is very good.
Sunbursty.
This hit 170 miles an hour on the Paris to Lyon high-speed line in that same year.
Jesus Christ.
Lyon. It looks like a GTO, which I appreciate with those headlamps.
Germany.
Like a Pontiac GTO?
Yeah.
Oh,
think about the grill.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay.
But Germany took a long time to get their high-speed trains out. This is the Intercity Express. Right? The ICE.
Eschede.
Yes.
Eschede.
Eschede. Yes.
We got to abolish these.
Oh, yeah. Well, this comes out, these enter service in 1991, and they were good for 155 miles an hour, which was, even then, not especially good, but not bad.
Faster than the Brits,
yes.
Which is that really what you want to be satisfied with? Also, the reason why it's an Eschede... Yeah, the reason why it's an Eschede is because it's Intercity Express, because Germans thought that, naming it in English made it sound more dynamic and business.
Yes. That's what you did in 1991 in Germany is business, because communism was illegal now.
Running through nostalgia, my three-piece suit. Yes, sir.
So, now, here is the ICE-1. This is a big dumb power brick at both ends, right?
Wait a second.
With just regular coaches in between, right? Here's Eschede pulling into the German city of Bridgeport, Connecticut, operated by German railroad company Amtrak.
I love to watch the fucking what's the name of the alternate history? The Man in the High Castle.
Yes.
There you go.
This is what it
got there eventually.
This is what it would look like if we hadn't saved your asses in World War II.
For which you are welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, they did a American tour in 1993 because Amtrak was looking to buy new high-speed trains for the Northeast Corridor. And so they sort of ran them up and down the Northeast Corridor. And then after they had done that, what they wound up doing was they sort of pulled them around the country with a pair of diesel locomotives to show them off in every small town. and say, look at the nice things that the people in the Northeast are going to get, and you won't.
Good. How much I pay to live here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I was watching, speaking of the British, I was watching I did end up watching the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and at some point I just thought maybe we shouldn't have saved him during World War II. Maybe what we should have done is take the IRA approach and save everybody but execute the royal family.
Well, the problem is that, like, if the fucking Nazis had won the war, the royal family would be better off than ever because absolutely.
They just put Edward VIII back on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
He would have loved that shit.
Oh, 100%.
So, we'd be speaking German if it weren't for us.
They're already speaking German, man.
When it comes to high-speed rail, there's two basic ways to run the systems, right? You have fully dedicated high-speed systems on its own right-of-way with all new track, all new stations, so on and so forth. That's how it runs.
Yeah, like the Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. It runs it like that in Japan, China, Saudi Arabia, a couple other new build systems like that.
What do these countries have in common in terms of being able to mobilize large-scale engineering projects like that?
And almost everywhere else, they run in mixed systems, right? The high-speed train may share tracks at station throats or run on some conventional main lines at enhanced speeds or standard speeds, right? And the ECA very definitely fits into the latter category, right? Germany's first.
The limiting factor here is like traffic and signaling, right? Because that was the big problem with the Intercity 125 in Britain was like, once you get above that speed, you have to have in-cab signaling, which we couldn't do because we didn't have the technology for it because you can't read signs going that fast.
Oh, the Germans figured that part out. The main problem at that point is you're operating in mixed traffic, some of which is running much more slowly than the high speed train.
Run into the back of a train full of lignite or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to smash into the back of the S-Bahn, right? So Germany's first
door closed noise is still going as you've killed 30 people. Yeah.
Germany's first high speed rail corridor ran from Würzburg to Hanover. Neither of which are not particularly big cities, but you know that is an important on the road from Munich to Hamburg. That's a significant amount of the distance, right? So you know, at each end, the trains just ran on normal train lines to their destinations. And so that high speed line was initially good for speeds up to 155 miles an hour. Right. So again, not the fastest high speed line out there, but you know, it does the job, right?
Still pretty cool to have the step change. Like you're going from Munich to Hamburg and you like go from normal running to them like opening the taps and you just get pushed back in your seat.
Yes. Well, I've been on one of these. Through Switzerland though, so it was not going fast.
No, it's on goat paths.
Yeah.
Don't they still run these ICE ones in Switzerland? Like down to Basel?
Yeah, that and Interlaken.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I have to pay.
I might refill my beer then. Alice, take the wheel.
Oh shit. Hi everybody. How's it going? It's me, Alice. I'm just left doing this because Justin won't edit the podcast that he produces. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed or who's listening or who is mean to us in the comments, because you know it's still objectively insane to me that I get to make money from the internet and from what is essentially like hosting and hanging out with my friends. So yeah, I don't know why you would pay me to do this, but thank you for paying me to do this.
I'm back.
It is a good time. How's it going?
I'm doing okay.
I just listed my favorite slurs.
Oh, very nice, excellent.
Also, both of yours too.
Okay, good. I'm glad you got that in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hello.
Hi, Liam. I was just listing your favorite slurs.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way.
Oh, boy.
All right. So you look at like this is sort of a map of the current German high-speed rail network. You got stuff in this line here, which is in yellow, is the original Würzburg to Hanover line, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some lines which have been upgraded. You can see in blue, right? Everything that's in red is good for 300 kilometers an hour or 186 miles an hour, right? And those are the newest lines.
Yeah, for the like TD3 that like tilts and stuff, right?
The TD3 is actually for lower speed lines.
Huh.
Yeah. That's why they tilt.
Maybe I should learn about trains for something other than Train Simulator.
So when they opened the system, the only line that was there was the Würzburg to Hanover line and the Mannheim to Stuttgart line, right? Everything else was just conventional lines. Now, once they opened the system, they started working out some of the bugs in the train, right? One of the big bugs was in the restaurant car, right?
Oh, how was the food?
I have no idea.
Board restaurant.
Board restaurant.
Board restaurant. Didn't Deutsche Bahn try to briefly have a McDonald's restaurant car? Have we talked about that on here before?
I don't know, but that so I ate McDonald's last night, and I thought to myself, what would make this experience much tastier would be to be flung through a train at 125 miles an hour. That I would enjoy.
Yeah,
okay, I'm reading
bad.
I'm reading the menu here. You get like wines, gnocchi, Mediterranean vegetables, cream of mushroom soup, potato, carrot, pumpkin puree. This all sounds disgustingly good for you.
I don't know. I like the Amtrak food the sandwiches are just not very good.
They're not very good, no.
And I know
you can get a currywurst on this.
Oh, I'd like a currywurst.
For €4.90,
That's
please.
not bad. We're charging $13 for some not especially good ham and cheese sandwiches. So
I've had to have the Amtrak sandwiches, like especially the Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage sandwich is not very good.
No,
I'm just old enough to remember the British Rail sandwich before it became the somehow worse but remembered more fondly privatized train operating company sandwich.
A few times I've taken a Roanoke train home from visiting my aunt and uncle, and the train leaves at like just before 6 a.m, so you can't really get any breakfast beforehand. So you got to get the breakfast in the cafe car, and you got to get that Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage sandwich. And it's like, I'm not looking forward to this, but I have to eat something.
Always sticks to the sausage patty.
Yeah.
Whoa! €3.50 for a large filter coffee.
Oh my God.
That's still cheaper than we're paying. God damn it.
I took a high-speed train in Italy, and a man just walked through the car handing out free Prosecco.
He wasn't like employed by the railroad or anything.
Yeah, that's just Mike.
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg is going to Italy to learn from this.
Thank God.
Amtrak will soon have a Prosecco guy.
That would make a lot of people a lot happier. Fun fact: Amtrak is Dogfish Head's #1 account.
Huh.
And for legal purposes, when you're in a cafe car, you are in the District of Columbia.
Yes.
for the purpose of liquor sales, all Amtrak alcohol sales are in the District of Columbia, wherever you are in the country.
Yeah, you're a sovereign train.
Yes.
Flying up a little DC flag. It's got the taxation without representation
on the
license plate on the back.
Yeah.
So
your knowledge of the United States never ceases to amaze me.
The Intercity Express has this restaurant car, right? And it was here where they found some problems relating to the design of the wheels, right? So they used pretty standard railroad wheels when they started out, right? And this is usually you have one wheel is a cast steel piece, the other wheel is a cast steel piece, and then the axle is one big cast steel piece, right? You have two wheels, one axle, very simple, right?
Solid metal.
Yes. And these are good for low speed running. When you get to high speed running, strange things start to happen. One of which is something called hunting oscillation, where the wheels start to slide sort of side to side along the rail, right? In high-speed trains, this is corrected with yaw dampers, which are sort of like pistons in between each car, right? But the ice had more problems than that. There were tiny manufacturing defects in these cast steel wheels. They were slightly out of round, or they had some metal wear, maybe the brakes applied in the wrong way, and that caused vibrations in the cars, right? Which were most noticeable in the restaurant car, right?
It's smooth, it's quiet, and an altogether delightful experience.
Yes. So you had issues where the tableware would just vibrate itself off the table. You know, people sort of complained about this, and and this being Germany and not Britain, they decided we need to fix this, right?
Yeah, unacceptable.
Yeah, this is unacceptable. 99999.
And to be clear, if you missed the APT episode, the way that British Rail solved this identical problem was telling the journalists who felt it, you're probably drunk.
They're like,
which they were, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when I'm on Amtrak, and I'm in the cafe car, sometimes
you're usually
you just,
drunk.
Well, yeah, but you just go over like a piece of bad track, and everything flies off the table anyway, and no one cares. Yeah, so I don't know why people are so picky, about this. Just hold on to your tableware.
Germans, and in particular West Germans of the 1990s.
Oh my God.
To drive my Mercedes to the fucking business factories that I run. I'm going to fucking extract all of the value from East Germany for being communist, and then later they will vote for the AfD, and I will be confused as to why.
Hans, I must have a car to bring me to the Hauptbahnhof.
Oh, not that one. That one still has the swastika flags. We are a peaceful people now, Hans. Peaceful and industrious. Don't give me a Juden driver, Hans.
Of such things was the economic miracle made.
Yes. So they found a solution.
Should have never Marshall planned them.
Oh no, my toast Hawaii has fallen from the table.
They found a solution in the form of something which had been employed on trams for a long time, right? Trams run over.
Is this the butt plug?
No.
Yes. Anything's a butt plug if you're adventurous enough.
Oh, boy. So trams run over a very rough track because everyone insists on driving their car on the track, and that fucks up the track, right? So they invented something called the resilient wheel, right? Which allows for a smoother ride. So rather than having one solid cast piece of steel, you have an inner cast piece of steel. Then there is a ring with rubber in it, right? And that is surrounded by a steel tire, right? And steel tires are a very old railway practice that dates back to steam locomotives, right? Because the big wheels on the steam locomotive, that's difficult to cast. You don't want to have to put a whole new wheel on there every time it wears out. You want to be able to take the outer steel tire off and then fit another tire on there, right?
How come we stopped using steel tires then?
Because we got the wheels small enough that they're easy to cast in one piece.
And I guess got better at casting too.
Yeah, and we didn't have the wheels weren't spoked anymore, so most of the complexity was gone. So Deutsche Bahn,
just putting spinners on my train bogie.
So Deutsche Bahn, the German rail operator, said, "Well, if this works for trams, it'll probably work for high-speed trains, right?" So then they put it on the ICE, right, without doing much testing at all, right? There weren't really any facilities in Germany which could perform the necessary tests, right?
Yeah,
so
and what are you going to do? Have a foreigner do it?
Yeah, exactly, right? This won't be precise and German enough, so we may as well just not do the tests at all. We'll work out the bugs in the field, right?
Just like invading Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that gun's not supposed to jam, but just push it along.
And in the meantime, they raised the speeds on the ICE from 155 to 170 miles an hour, right? But
yep, places to go, people to see.
The restaurant car vibrations went away. Problem solved.
All right, good episode, everyone.
Good episode.
We'll see you next week.
Tacoma Narrows, so on and so forth.
Tacoma Narrows, yes. On to safety third. No.
Oh.
Well, this is Eschede, right?
Yeah, he's got a map.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
On June 3rd, 1998.
Oh, no.
ICE 884, the Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Was
guy who invented discovered X-rays.
Yes. Was traveling from Munich to Hamburg with stops in Augsburg, Nuremberg, Würzburg, Fulda, Kassel, Göttingen.
No, we don't stop in Fulda. We don't stop in Fulda. That's where the Ruskies
are. Yeah, much like the 3rd Guards Tank Army, we do not stop in Fulda.
So it made it all the way up the high-speed line and onto the conventional rail tracks after Hanover. And as it approached the town of Eschede, something happened.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
So Jörg Dittmann,
German-ass name. Me and my girlfriend saw you from across the bar and really dig your vibe.
Want to come home with us and have the most disappointing threesome of your life?
Do you like to party?
How dare a German man in Germany have a German name?
Yeah.
This MF name. Show deference.
Liam never really got over not being appointed to the Allied Control Commission in 1946 and has been nursing that grudge all his life.
Show deference, or what was the city we bombed that we shouldn't have?
Dresden probably.
Show deference, or we're bombing Dresden again. No more cathedral. No more cathedral.
Well, like, Dresden's actually a good example of my why are they voting for the AFD joke, because the federal government is like, yeah, we're going to subsidize the shit out of Dresden in order to rebuild the pretty kirche that everyone can go to for the tourism and so on and so forth. We're not going to do anything about any of these Plattenbaus, though.
So,
wait, why are you racist now? This makes me want to give you less money, not more money.
And bomb the Nuremberg Ring. That's the other thing.
Just call the Nuremberg the Nuremberg Ring?
Yes, he did.
Whatever. I drive a German car. I'm basically a capo now, so.
So, Jörg Dittmann was a passenger in the first car. What
unit of the SS was he in?
No, this was like 1998. It would have been his dad who was in the SS.
Yes.
He was a national hero. He was part of the good Weimar.
All right. Jörg Dittmann was sitting in the first car, not really doing anything, when a large metal rod shot through his armrest.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then the coach started swaying from side to side. And Jörg said to himself, "Das ist nicht gut."
He does not say to himself that he pulls das emergency cord lever for Bremdungseffekt.
This is the fun thing. There was an emergency lever in the compartment that he didn't know was there. Right?
Oh, aren't those supposed to be marked?
Very visible, yeah.
Yeah. Instead, Jörg found a conductor and told him what had happened.
Oh, okay.
And the conductor said, "I can't pull the emergency brake immediately. Company procedure demands that I investigate the problem before I stop the train."
Do not do this.
This is the looks at notes second most evil corporate policy Deutsche Bahn has ever implemented.
No, I must follow the procedure. If we do not
I was merely following orders. Where have I heard that before? So yes, Conductor Eichmann, you were saying.
It's going to be like this the whole time, fellas. I'm sorry.
I got a lot of generational trauma to work out, baby. But not a lot of time.
All right, so the train was traveling about 125 miles an hour. It was about 10:58 in the morning. Jörg showed the conductor what had happened just as the train crossed a set of switches just south of Eschede. Right? And
I'm guessing Jörg didn't make it.
No, he made it. He was in the first car. You wanted to be in cars 1 and 2. and the front half of 3. We'll get to that.
Oh boy.
This is when all hell broke loose. All right. So the metal rod turned out was the steel tire.
we have a tasteful podcast here.
The metal rod, it turned out, was the steel tire from one of the resilient wheels, right?
Oh, aren't those supposed to be round rather than like a fucking spear?
Centrifugal force will do that to you.
I do want to say, as a Jewish man whose ancestors were murdered aboard cattle cars, it's nice to see how the Germans like it.
So
I'm just saying, I don't,
the tire shot up. Part of the tire was sticking through the coach. Other part of the tire was like down below the height of the rail. So this tire caught the switch, right? Sort of lifted the first coach up slightly, right? And it changed
air,
yeah, it caught a little bit of air. And it changed the setting of the switch to the diverging path, right?
Whoa.
And starting from the rear bogie of the third car, the train took the diverging path. So
it took the path less traveled.
Yes.
How romantic.
That is what made all the difference. Yes, Ice Train 844 was now multi-track drifting.
Oh boy.
So this is not a great situation to be in, right?
Roz, you should conduct safety videos. Just this voice.
So this is not an ideal situation.
This is not an ideal situation. It was probably recoverable, though, except, the train could have just stopped at this point, except immediately after the switch was a bridge.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, with a concrete pillar in between the two tracks.
See, everybody's always bitching at British Railways. Why do you have so many at-grade crossings? Well, what if you have not at-grade crossings and they're always like in the worst possible place?
Yes.
Makes you think.
So, train's going this way. Car number 3 is multi-track drifting. It smashes right into the concrete pillars underneath the bridge, right?
Dude.
This destroyed the pier. The car number 3 itself actually held up pretty good.
Good.
And the bridge started to fall down. Not good. Now, the velocity of the train was great enough that car 4 and half of car 5 made it out from under the bridge. And those derailed and slammed into an embankment right where 2 Deutsche Bahn workers were doing some track work.
It sucks to be those guys.
I know, right?
I mean, I guess it sucks to be anyone involved here, but sucks a lot to be minding your own business, doing some track work, worried that the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you get fucking sprayed with the toilet tube, and then you just get murdered instantly.
Yes. So
whose foreman do you have to get on the line to complain about that one?
Yeah, we needed what they needed was a person in charge of works and a lookout, but who had microsecond reflexes.
Yes. So the front power car in cars 1 through 3 stayed on the track, except the rear bogie of car number 3, which is sort of just fishtailing, right? It stayed on the track and coasted to a stop about 1 kilometer down the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the train did not fare so well.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So you can see here's car 4 up here, sort of rolled over. Here's car 5. The rear half got smashed by the bridge. Car 6 was the restaurant car. The bridge fell right on top of it. It was crushed to a height of 6 inches.
Oh, fuck. No, thank you.
Not good. And then the remaining cars of the train just piled up and jackknifed into each other, right?
How many cars total?
I'm not sure. I think it was about maybe 12, maybe 14. Yeah. So now there's some failure modes you can't really design for, right? This is one of those.
Yeah, being crushed to a height of 6 inches.
Yeah. I mean, you usually, if you expect in a derailment, it might be pretty bad, but you don't expect a bridge to fall on you don't expect, the train to run into a concrete wall, essentially, right? So, the train cars got ripped open. They sort of spilled out their contents, or they got crushed by the bridge. Everything got really fucked up, right? Witnesses in the...
So the direction of travel here is like towards the top of the picture, right?
Yes, the train was going this way.
Mm-hmm. And there's like... So you have the car that's been crushed into a cube under the bridge, and then everything else is just flattened against the back of that.
Piled up on top, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You went from 125 miles an hour to 0 miles an hour pretty quickly.
Only the ECA 884 reduces a German to a soup-like homogenate in under 30 seconds.
Good.
The Germans are not going to like this one.
Fuck them.
Just watching.
I didn't like the Holocaust very much.
looking forward to the exit surveys. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my God, I'm not going to read those.
I'll read those.
So, witnesses in the town described hearing something that, quote, sounded like a plane crash, unquote.
It looks like a plane crash, like very similar, like just field of debris.
Yes. And some folks came over to see what was the commotion, and like, oh, there's been a massive train wreck. That's not good. Because the local authorities declared a state of emergency by 11:02. This is just 4 minutes after the tire failed. And
points for efficiency there.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, if there's one thing the Germans usually are known for, it's efficiency. They're not always actually efficient, but they are known for
it. Very successful national branding exercise.
Yeah. So, and they brought in a shitload of emergency services. There's actually a group of emergency physicians were attending a conference in Hanover, and they managed to get basically all of them to come in and, do like...
Imagine the guy who doesn't. Stuff. Imagine being like, no, I like being in the hotel with my little coffee sachets. Thanks.
Had a couple.
Am I going to do work on my vacation?
Had a couple too many breakfast beers.
Dr. Anderson.
Maybe it's a little better if you stay home from that one. Yeah,
not wrong. I'd be a fine death inspector. I would not taunt the families of the dead and say, see how you like it.
Now, my question is, right, this massive emergency mobilization, did that help like at all, or is it more because like I feel like
once the damage is done sort of deal?
Yeah, I feel like being in the back of one of those like later cars to come in is kind of like being like, does it make a difference which end of a banana you put into a blender first kind of vibe?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. The rear half of this train was not very good for survivability, right? There were 287 passengers on the train. 99 were killed. 88 more were severely injured.
Jesus Christ.
And in addition to the 2 track workers who got, just had minced by a 125 mile an hour flying railroad car smashing into them. 101 people were dead at the end of this. But it could have been worse. The train going the opposite direction had only gone under the bridge 2 minutes earlier.
Well, small mercies, yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's always the story with these.
Yeah. Imagine the last thing that you see or like process is a high-speed train carriage coming towards you sideways at 125 miles an hour. Like, I guess you don't have time to process that, or at least I hope you don't. But if you do, hard not to take that personally.
Yeah,
I feel.
I was about to say.
You get up to the pearly gates or whatever, and you're just like, "Yo,
what the fuck?
Fuck Deutsche Bahn."
First of all, yeah. First of all, fuck Deutsche Bahn. Second, what the fuck did I do?
Well, you see.
Okay, we can list some of Deutsche Bahn's extensive crimes.
Yeah.
So, all right. One of the problems was rescue efforts were kind of hampered by the fact that while the train car is obviously not strong enough to withstand being mulched by a bridge,
turned into spaghetti squash, yes,
they are a little bit too strong for the rescuers to use the jaws of life on them. They had a hard time getting into cars to rescue people, and the windows weren't breakaway. So they couldn't really get in through the windows either. I mean, they eventually figured it out, but
you
got a team of forklifts. That's what I would do.
If you look at the one that's on its side right here, you can see the windows that are like intact, which is insane.
That's German engineering right there.
Yeah. Why don't they make the whole train out of the windows? Why don't they make the passengers out of the windows?
They did. And it still wasn't enough. So, what sort of you gotta sort of like, what happened here? What was how did this accident occur? And at first, the media speculated the train had hit a car, right? Which was clearly, there's a car found in the wreckage, which apparently it was a VW Golf owned by the track workers.
GCI or regular?
I think it was a regular one. Yeah. The front of the train was undamaged, right? So, it probably did not hit a car. Eventually, they found out that the resilient wheels that were fitted to the ICE trains were defective, and Deutsche Bahn had known about it.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah. They were alerted to the problems of the wheels after the tram operator in Hanover found some problems with them about a year earlier.
So you're saying Deutsche Bahn covered something up?
Yo, you're telling me that Deutsche Bahn,
if you can't trust the Deutsche Bahn, who can you trust companies
would turn a blind eye to people losing their lives?
I don't know if I believe that. I've always known Deutsche Bahn to be on the up and up, very morally competent and good company.
So, you would figure they would at least try and avoid losing a whole train of rolling stock,
Yeah,
that is the most German sentence I've ever heard.
Deutsche Bahn had been doing inadequate inspections on these resilient wheels, right? They just sort of had the crew go over the wheels with a flashlight, right? They had some more sophisticated inspection machinery that they could use on it, but it kept giving false positives for cracks. So
now, see, this is the thing that doesn't this is how successful the branding has been, that I can't in my head picture lackadaisical Germans just being like, yeah, shine a flashlight on it, mate. It's fine. Like in my head, when I try to think of that guy has a British accent.
Yes. So it's British Hans. Yeah.
don't like it. There's the for predetermined window breaking point.
Yeah, he's actually named Jerry. So the wheel in question that failed had been flagged as defective by automated checks the week prior, and Deutsche Bahn ignored these checks. Some of the staff and the passengers had complained that the car was vibrating unnaturally in the months before the crash. These complaints were also ignored.
Because they're like, well, we fixed the vibration. What are you complaining about?
Exactly, right? Everything is fine. Nothing to see here.
This exhibit is closed.
And Deutsche Bahn ended up paying about 30,000 marks to each of the families of those who were killed. That's about $19,000. And settled separately with the injured. There's something like $30 million of
cost
total
of Xbox. Yeah. $499. So how much per person?
19,000.
19,000 divided by 499. Divided by 499. You get 38 Xboxing.
Xboxing.
That's a lot of Xboxing. It's sort of like something like $30 million total was given to the victims, including the injured. 2 Deutsche Bahn officials and 1 engineer were charged with manslaughter in 2002, and that ended up in a plea bargain, and they were each fined 10,000 euros.
Cool.
Yeah. And what they wound up doing is they replaced the wheels with old-fashioned cast steel wheels, and they continue to provide service to this day.
So what you're telling me is that
lesson learned.
Lesson learned, but also my cutlery will fall off and my toast Hawaii
and
will
you'll
fall
be
off
very
the
happy
thing.
about it.
Yes, I think that's a better situation than
dying,
whacking into a bridge. Yeah,
at 125 miles an hour. Yeah,
simply never have any crossings at grade or otherwise.
Correct.
The railway is sacrosanct.
Yes.
Have nothing cross it. Go around the
right of
railway.
way, only way.
That's right.
I think there was an issue recently where an ICE train smashed into like a flock of sheep in Fulda.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Imagine your beautiful white Eschede arrives in Basel-Hauptbahnhof looking like an Italian Frecciarossa.
I've seen pictures of some American trains after they smashed into a deer or like a cow or something. And it's like, yeah, this is just a sort of pink mist on the front of the locomotive.
It'll buff out.
I've posted about this before, and it's a much more harmless take. But like, one of the things I genuinely enjoy is seeing a jacked up, like a dirty Eschede, because there's some aura of smugness that attaches to having a white high-speed train that is like, oh, you're so fucking sauber, and it's Zukunft, and then you like look at these pictures of them, and someone has written like "clean me" in German with their finger on the side of it because it's covered in grime and coal dust and shit, and you're just like, yeah, no, fuck you deserve that.
Drove it too close to Poland where they burn all their shitty coal so they can say they're green. Yeah. Well, anyway, that is the story. I guess the moral is do fucking inspections on the wheels.
Metal fatigue is very complicated.
Yes.
And you can't fuck around with it, especially in like critical applications.
Pull the emergency brake early and often.
Yeah. As all the time, ignore all posted fines, pull it constantly, anytime you get the chance. And as much as we say that train good and high-speed train good, you have to like maintain the high-speed train.
Yes. And
which requires constant investment.
I used to row out of a place called Thompson's Boathouse in it's just near Georgetown in Washington, D.C. That was the summer boathouse. And there was an emergency exit from the metro tunnel that ran under the Potomac in the back. And, every time I was taking the metro up there, I was like, I could save a 5-minute walk if I just pull the emergency brake right now.
I read an obituary. I don't remember of who, but it was one of those like truly authentic British weirdos who like had done some intelligent stuff during the war. But like he moved to suburbia, and one of the things that he was noted for in later life was that when the train went past his house, he would open the window and throw his briefcase into his own back garden, so he didn't have to carry it out of the station.
I like that.
And that's the kind of efficiency
I like that. That's what won you the war.
Yeah, that willingness to improvise and also like fucking like lean out of the window of a speeding train with your briefcase in hand, trying to be like, okay, and like compensate for the wind and stuff.
What happens if he misses?
It goes in the neighbor's back garden. What do you care?
He's out of briefcase.
He has to talk to his neighbors. Hey, I threw my briefcase in my backyard.
Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. That'll get you killed.
Yes. All right. So we have a section on this podcast called Safety Third.
Shake hands with danger.
Okay. This isn't the most dramatic Safety Third submission ever, but it is directly related to your episode about the station nightclub fire. So
we love thematic consistency.
Yes, I figure you might find it interesting. For many years, I worked in the nightclub/live events venue industry, and the safety culture is absolutely appalling. The reasons for this are twofold, I think. First, OSHA has absolutely no interest in regulating the industry, and second, the people often responsible for creating and enforcing workplace safety are the same sort of idiot 26-year-old stagehands that set off the indoor pyrotechnics that started the station fire. I was one such idiot 26-year-old, and this is my story. At the time, I was head of the lighting department of a large theater and concert venue. Prior to the station fire, the venue had handled all pyrotechnics in-house, and For some reason, my department was in charge of all things explosive in those days.
It's lighting, isn't it, technically?
I was hired.
Produces light.
It does produce light. This is true. Unless it's one of those things that only produces smoke, in which case it produces dark. I was hired over 10 years after the fire, when such things were now no longer legal. We were still allowed to do pyro in the venue, but no one working for the company could possess the necessary licensure required to buy, to purchase, store, or set off explosives. Now, in the back of my shop was a very scary-looking red lockbox, clearly labeled explosives in block capitals.
Oh, dear.
But I'd confirmed long ago that it was empty, and I assumed that...
I know how it's marked. It's fucking stenciled on there in white paint, right?
And I assumed long ago all the pyrotechnics had been disposed of. But it turns out I assumed wrong. On a slow day in between performances, I was doing an inventory of an entirely different cabinet in my shop, intended for the storage of flammable liquids. To my horror, found that someone had stashed multiple ice cube tray-like packages of small pyrotechnic cubes intended to produce 16-inch flames in the back of this cabinet and forgotten about them. Needless to say, the expiration date on all these packages had long ago passed, and it was entirely likely that they'd been improperly stored in the back of the wrong cabinet ever since the station fire. Again,
the forbidden ice cubes.
Yeah. Again, I stress this was nearly 10 years after the original incident, and somehow this stuff was still there, just waiting to unexpectedly go off, as expired pyro tends to do. I asked my boss, the venue's production manager, what I should do, and he didn't seem to understand the severity of the situation.
Oh, he was British.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's put in the fucking...
He shrugged and vaguely suggested I should look at the MSDS for disposal information. Fortunately, I still had that's the material safety data sheet, by the way. You're supposed to have it for everything, everywhere.
If you use chemicals, you better fucking have an MSDS.
You better have an MSD. You should have an MSDS for the MSDS folder. Fortunately, I found I still had this particular sheet on file, but its only instruction on disposal was dispose by burning.
Cool.
Yeah, it was always fun.
Like old American flags.
Yeah. Now, this is where being an idiot 26-year-old suddenly in charge of safety comes in. I do not remember if I came up with this idea or not, but at some point a plan was hatched to take a spare 55-gallon steel drum out to the dirt lot we use for overflow parking, dump all the pyrotechnics in it, and light the whole thing on fire.
I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Yes. My co-host, Mohammed bin Salman.
Mohammed bin Salman hasn't really blown a lot of stuff up. It's really more of a I'd go for a Muhammad Atta joke there, I think.
I guess that also works, yeah.
Is Liam asleep?
No, I'm just listening.
I'm sorry, you were breathing like you were asleep.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just listening.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think I was that boring.
You're not. God damn it, Roz.
I was worried because you hadn't said anything offensive about Germans in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm always cooking one up, but no, I just. I think I probably peaked when I said, "See how they like it." I do, as someone known to improperly store his own No, never mind. Moving on.
Oh God. Regardless of whether this was my idea or not, I signed off on this plan. And it's exactly what myself and several of the other people I was in charge of ended up doing. I no longer remember how many individual cubes we loaded into this drum, but I absolutely remember someone tossing a lit match in there and watching a far bigger flame than we anticipated shoot out the top of the drum, accompanied by a thick black cloud of
I kind of want to know what
the hell are these cubes?
What were they anticipating? I would anticipate a pretty big fire, right? Because there's several ice cube trays worth of explosives.
They were like,
and what the hell are these cubes?
Well, you have to circle around them 7 times. just tiny miniature cabas.
Just walking around. I imagine the Hajj would be a lot more exciting if every so often the Hajj just started shooting off fireworks.
Erupting like gouts of flame.
Yeah, like Vesuvius. And every so often a pilgrim just gets dinged in the eye with a sparkler.
If the current trends are anything to go on, they will
be doing a laser light show by the end of 2024.
Add pyrotechnics, to the Great Mosque, yeah. So, as we watched it burn, we realized that no one had brought a fire extinguisher with us, so someone went back inside to fetch one, while the rest of us stood around a fire cracking jokes about dying from smoke inhalation. After what seemed like an eternity, long after whatever the manufacturer's specifications were for how long the stuff was supposed to burn, the fire burned itself out, and we went back inside, having learned nothing from this experience. Somehow we managed to not start a wildfire, injure anyone, or get in any sort of trouble for this stunt.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations.
Right. Yes, I was about to say.
What the hell are those cubes?
I want to know
if you know what the hell the cubes are, please send us a DM.
I gotta know
anything
what is
about
a fucking
cubes.
what is a fire emitting cube?
Just told you it was the Kaaba.
Oh yeah.
No, that's made of stone.
Shut up.
I don't think the Kaaba can catch fire. The tapestry covering it could catch fire, but I don't think the Kaaba itself could catch fire.
You know, my favorite fact about that covering is that, like, aside from the fact that it never used to just be black, it used to be like red and green and white and whatever they felt like. They also, when they replaced it, they never used to take the old one off. So there was a period where, like, under the Ottomans, where it was in genuine danger of collapse because it looked like an overstuffed marshmallow. Because every time they would just throw a new one over it, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's just like you got a real landlord special there with the 17 coats of paint. Yeah. Well, maybe the Ottomans shouldn't have stewardship of the Great Mosque. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the Saudis have done any better. I mean, what y'all got to figure out? Put the Christians in charge of that thing, so no one can complain about it specifically. Right.
Put the UN in charge of it. Have some Swiss guys do it.
Yeah, this is like this. It's like a reverse of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, right? You know that seems to be the only way you could do this properly.
Yeah, but then you just end up with like different families of Christians arguing about like an individual ladder or something.
Put the Pope in charge.
That's never gone badly.
Yeah,
I see your plan here, Justin.
Papist.
Crusade by stealth.
Yeah.
Pope Wallet Inspector the First finally manages to fucking conquer Mecca with this one weird trick.
Listen, listen, Muhammad, buddy, I know how to fix this problem. You just have to make me the steward of the mosque. All right, all your problems are going to go away.
We'll do some sort of reverse leasing deal.
Yeah.
You can consolidate your payments into one easy payment.
Yeah, then Saudi Arabia puts a reverse mortgage on the Kaaba.
No, don't give them ideas.
That's not a good idea, yeah.
Well, then I'm sure the Saudis have already thought of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it winds up in the hands of like Wall Street. You know, they put like a billboard on it.
Yes, that's my people coming in for interfaith dialogue.
Good God.
All right.
What's the next episode going to be?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Alice. The next episode will be on the Tacoma Narrows Bridge disaster.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, good. If you want a Pennsylvania Secret Service card, I have been fucked in the brain pan due to like problems.
That sounds erotic.
Continue to hassle me in the DMs until I get back to you. I will still do it. This has been my only announcement. Yes. Oh, and also listen to Kill James Bond.
Yes, listen to Kill James Bond. Listen to Trash Future.
Listen to Liam's podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah,
subscribe to Justin's YouTube channel.
Yes, subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/WTYP pod.
Yeah.
Send
Next
us shit.
bonus episode is going to be with a hell of a way to die about the M2 Bradley armored fighting vehicle.
That should drop on Monday. We will, sorry, that one's late. We also have a PO box you can send us stuff with. Don't send us anthrax. I don't remember what it is offhand, so that
40178 Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19106.
Yes.
Good Lord. Just off the dome with that. Incredible.
That's me, baby.
All right. That's also in the
I don't know. I
description.
don't ever remember which direction I got to turn my keys to unlock my door, but our PO box address, no fucking problem.
All right.
You were like a Marine for a second there. God damn.
Sorry, everybody. My ass rides in Navy equipment.
It is 3 o'clock in the morning. Men, you are going to ship packages to WTYP Pod.
Go. Like, you got to run through the gas chamber training. You're trying to write 40178 with only one eye working.
And I think
Anything else?
that's it.
Don't think so.
That's a podcast. I'm
All right,
excited
good
to
podcast.
see what I have to go through and cut out from the goddamn news.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Everything.
Yeah,
Bye.
just everything. Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.